Hello and welcome along to another episode and a new season from this FM22 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. We're back for season 9 today and Crystal Palace is still our club. We've got a very quiet window so far, a little bit of frustration from my part, but we've also come back a little bit early and we'll be finding out why in a second. If you're looking forward to seeing what's been done in a transfer window, seeing our first league game in a London derby away at Fulham, and what's brought us back a couple of weeks before the season, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. Subscribe down below for daily FM22 content from 2 long-term stories. We had a big transfer special in our Hemel Hempstead save yesterday as well as we reached the start of a new season in that one. You can find it in the eye above. Please do check it out. It is greatly appreciated. And of course, there's links up there to the Twitch channel, the football podcast, and the food channel too. And I'd love it if you could come and check us out over there. If you want to stay up to date with everything here, as we mentioned in the community page last week, a few new and returning series over the next couple of weeks, including one earlier to date, which you can find up in the eye above too, then please do subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. But let's get cracking, because aside from transfers, aside from the Premier League coming back, remarkably having Champions League football and basically an unimproved squad, we've been back 2 weeks early, and there's a specific reason for that. Because if we go to our inbox, we've been offered a job. But not a job that means we leave Crystal Palace. It's an international job. Now, we've not been offered an England job, Wales, Scotland, anything local. We've been offered an Italy job, which is a massive nation, steeped in history, with wonderful players in real life. Of course, the recent Euro winners in real life. However, we're into the 9th season here, and it is an Italy side, if we go and look at it, that is basically all the same names. Their squad is almost exclusively over 27, only 3 players under that age, none under 23, 1 under 25. And I've had a little look at their 23s, their 21s, etc. They're not that great. They've got one brilliant youngster at Chelsea who has the potential to be great, but is nowhere near it at the minute. And they've got one at Liverpool who is going to be world class, but doesn't really suit any tactics I play. So I'm in a bit of a predicament here. Yes, we could potentially take them on, get them to whatever the major tournament is next year. I presume it will be a World Cup. It is. There's qualifiers to go. They've got 4 points out of 2 games and a pretty easy group, so I'd expect them to get through. But what is our expectation there? They want us to get to semi-finals and finals of World Cups, and I don't think that's possible. So, as well as being invested in Palace, having our busiest season of their head coach yet, with Champions League football, remarkably, and with a very small and delicate squad to try and balance out, I think I'm going to reject this offer. Now, I know we have to be realistic here, but we're at a stage now in the Premier League where it doesn't really matter about money because we're earning tons anyway. I could accept the Italy offer and resign from Palace, but I have no interest in international football at an early stage in my career. And I don't think it's the right time to take on 2 jobs. It's something you very rarely or never see now from a Premier League manager. I think Mark Hughes was probably the last who did it. So I'm going to reject this offer, despite it being a very flattering one. I just don't think it's one where we're likely to succeed. And it's not one that I'm willing to give up Palace for. So instead of taking on 2 jobs when we're really busy already, I'm going to reject the Italy job and we're going to stay just with Crystal Palace. What that means though, with 13 days to the season, is we need Dougie to get a move on. There's next to no transfer budget left. There's a little bit of wage budget. He's already loaning out a few more players. He's rejected some offers. There's some players in and out. We'll look at all of those in a minute. We're going to skip ahead to the first day of the season. And I hope I've got a bit more magic to introduce. Because so far, there's been one brilliant signing and not much else. Well, back a day later and a change of clothes later for the opening day of the Premier League season. We've already seen a couple of games take place. Chelsea and Everton already losers. West Ham and Liverpool the top 2. But we have got a game against Fulham, a side that I don't think were in the Premier League last year. I'm presuming they got promoted. Let's have a quick check. They were in the Premier League, so I obviously missed that. But that was their first season up anyway. A lower mid-table club. We are coming up against them. We've got transfer news to get through first, and it includes a man who's now out injured for the opening weeks of the season. What you'll also notice from the Crystal Palace team news at the top of the screen is that Grabara is out yet again, so we're relying on Rosic. Selly and Boyer still here, but out injured again, and now one of our new boys out too. The bank balance is okay, the Champions League money will soon be rolling in, but let's first have a look at the people who have joined the club and what we're expecting for the rest of this season. a few players that are potentially going out on loan, one potential signing I'm really looking forward to if we can get him in. We'll see why in a moment. But let's start with the transfer history. So no real first teamers who left the club on a free in terms of being released, but John McCormack is one who was on the fringes. He was in his early 20s and I think would have been an emergency squad player this season, but he's chosen to go. There's a few other youngsters too, but none that were really pressing the first team squad. Just a few that we bought off the bench in odd games where we were desperate. Let's go and get though to the transfers in and out of the club because there's been a little bit of action this summer. Let's just check there wasn't anything at the end of the year. There was one youngster in from Australia and John Morcio left the club to Galatasaray. 11.75 million. He was of course transfer listed towards the end of last year after the January signing of a couple of wingers and after a staff meeting where they said he's not good enough for us anymore. So at 30, Morcio goes for 11.75. He was signed for 8, so it's a player they've actually made a profit on. Dougie Freedman, he's done decently there. Let's have a look at this year though, because in terms of the ins, there's only actually 2 first teamers amongst that group of 6 that have joined the club. Going out though, you'd probably argue the same. There's only 2 players that were in the first team squad last year. Albeit there were a couple more I would have liked to maybe promote to the first team this season. Without Europa League football though, I can understand why he's opted to loan them out. So in terms of the outs, we knew that Ali Akim was leaving. He's gone to Troy at 23 years of age at the end of his contract. A decent player, but not a good Premier League player. And we have to accept that Dougie's made the right choice there. Young Jason Williams has gone out on loan again. He's now 22 years of age, but keeps getting loaned out. Hopefully he'll eventually get a club, because he barely played for Huddersfield last year. And he's a good player. He hasn't yet made an appearance for Barnsley either. Jordan McDonald, Mitchell Francis both went to lower league clubs before Rioche Lodge, another that we talked about promoting to the first team, went out too. Pompey in the Championship, he scored on his debut off the bench. He's been brilliant for them. But I really wanted him as our third choice this year. And at the moment, Baron Bueno, who's come back from loan, we don't really have one. So I'm kind of hoping we'll be able to get someone in, but I wouldn't bank on it based on the budget we've got left. Considering we qualified for the Champions League against all the odds, it really has been a little bit underwhelming, the amount of transfer budget Dougie's been given to work with. As you can see, if you add on Morcio's transfer to this, he's only made, a 3 million net spend so far. The next one out was Tormena, who goes to FC Copenhagen in Denmark. He is now 33 years of age. He's slightly past his prime. And he's another one that had to be transfer listed at the request of the staff meeting. He's past his best, he's declining physically. And that's why the Shackleton signing might be so important. Because as a right back, we need a replacement. And there's already one at centre half. So Tormena, a brilliant servant for me. I was really pleased to work with him. I thought he was a key player that first year in the centre half partnership with Mepham. And then did a job last season as both a backup right back and a backup centre half. He is one though that Palace as a club have made a big loss on. 11 million down to 4.2. The last couple to leave the club, Michael Copeland, a youngster who went to MK Dons on loan, and then Callum Green, who we keep getting linked with selling, but has gone out on loan again. He's not going to make it, so I would have just taken the money. But regardless, he'll go and get some first team football. In terms of ins, loads of players that aren't really worth looking at too much. Harley Montague came in from Cheltenham on the cheap. He's rubbish. Dara Kelly came in on a free agent deal from Ireland. He's not great. And then we've got Danny Hunter on a free transfer deal, who's 21 and not going to make it. Was playing for Warrington last year. And then Daniel O'Sullivan from Newry in Northern Ireland. Decent passer of the ball, got a few good attributes, but he's an EFL player at the very best when he develops. There are, however, in the middle, these 2 permanent first team signings. The first of which I'm incredibly excited about. So, you're going to have to forgive the pronunciation. Mikhailo Lozhny, £16 million from Dnipro, rising to potentially 19 million. He was the alternative to Phil Jeffrey, who chose to go elsewhere. And he's unbelievable. He's 18 years of age, a Ukrainian, going to become homegrown at the club because of the time he's been here. The worry I have is that he appears to be pretty injury prone already. However, he's a brilliant player. He's 6'4", he's towering as a centre half, he's brave, he's determined, he's got a good personality, he's natural anywhere from centre half up to centre mid. What a holding player he could be in the future. What a centre half he could be. And with Mepham and Lenormand both 32 now, I'm looking at him as a potential succession planner for them. He's a wonderful footballer, he will get better in time. Just need him to stay clear of injuries, because if we look at the report, there's nothing to suggest that he is injury prone. However, he's had the one this year, and already in his short career he's had 3 or 4 little knocks. But a proper sublime youngster, and I'm pretty surprised actually that he's not a wonder kid. He's got 5-star potential, he's already 3-star ability, he'll get a lot of playing time. The second one, a little bit more weird, but I guess it's because of the budget that he's working within. He obviously felt we needed 4 centre-halves for the Champions League, Dougie Freedman, and Abdou Diallo is the man who comes in. 33 years of age from Brentford. Now, he's still got all of his attributes physically, considering his age, but it's a very strange signing. It's only a 2-year deal. He's clearly a backup for a small price that he's thinking, look, we're not going to make a profit on him, we're not going to get our money back, but he'll fill a void. And he doesn't cost much money. He's a ball-playing defender, and he's pretty versatile elsewhere as well. So I can see the logic to it, but it's just a bit of a weird signing. So with those two in at the minute, the only areas we're really short is right back and up front. We've got Glenn Fitzgerald, who hasn't gone out on loan yet, but I imagine that will be a matter of time. And the same for Brian and Bueno up top. But you can see that there was an offer for Jamie Shackleton to Watford. Now, that was 4.9 million, rising to over 8, and he's in contract talks at the moment. He's 29 years of age, can play right back and centre mid, and he's just a solid squad player. He's not my type in terms of height and physicality for this year's game, but he is a good player, and if we can bolster the squad a little bit more, I'll be pretty happy with it. He's got a wealth of experience, he's a good footballer, he's playing well in the Championship at the moment after Watford's relegation. With all of that said though, let's get cracking with our first game of the season. We go away to Fulham, who have been in the Premier League 1 year. After that, it gets very difficult. We've got Arsenal at home, who are a good side. They're right in that top 4. Newcastle, the money bags. I'm sure they've spent again. I'm sure they will have. How much? Only 43.5. Not too bad by their standards. But a lot of money going out there, and 2 or 3 really good sides. It has worked out pretty similarly to last year though, where we had 3 or 4 sort of poorer teams in a row, or teams that we would maybe think are winnable, and then your little group of City, Liverpool and Chelsea, 3 out of 4 games. But if we can replicate last year, we're surely going to be a world star. We obviously were offered the Italy job. That was a massive honour. Not that it was the right time for us. But if we can have another good season, even with the Champions League football, we're surely on the road to something special. My worry is that squad big enough and strong enough to do so? I don't know. There's still a few little outliers in the squad, so we mentioned that Glenn Fitzgerald is still here. Andres Karabali, who was out on loan in the Championship last season, he's come back and is still in the squad at the moment. He is wanted though by a couple of clubs, so I wonder if he'll go back to Huddersfield again. And then I don't really know the situation with Brian and Bueno, who at the moment is our third choice striker. So lots of unanswered questions. I think it's going to be a fairly eventful end to the window, despite the lack of finances, because the Champions League money will come in 3 or 4 days before the end of August and could lead to a very, very busy finish to the window. Let's have a look at our first game note. We've got a team to pick. West Ham have beaten Chelsea and Liverpool have won the Merseyside derby. Can we win a London one though? That's the big question. Let's go and pick our 11. Let's see what the assistant recommends. We'll be back in a minute to run through our team for the first game of the season. Well, with the lineup picked, it's actually a fairly familiar team because the one of the new signings that probably would have pushed his way towards the 11 is out injured. We've got Selly and Boyer out. We've got Reece Nelson out. We've still got the unanswered question with Artur as well, who's not wanted, who's just sitting there and not really close to the first team at all. He continues to decline and was a poor signing. But the first 11 has to stay the same. Diallo will be on the bench and perhaps make his debut. The big decision was up front. Do we pick Campbell or Tipple? On the right, do we pick Rios or Abdul Qadir? But I've stuck with what we know and what served us best for now. So that means Rosic, the only fit keeper, is in goal. We've got Bogle and Teo, the fullbacks, with Lenormand and Mepham as centre-half. A back 4 that is getting old now. Jayden Bogle is just turning 29, Lenormand 32, Mepham 31, but turning 32 in November. We've got Tahar, Castrovilli and Ndombele, the midfield 3. No Selly and Boyer today, I'm afraid. And then Lanez, Abdul Qadir and Tyrese Campbell. The front 3 with changes on the bench if we need it. Let's go and get into the first day away at Craven Cottage. Fingers crossed, we'll be able to start the season as we played for most of last. Some very interesting names in this Fulham team. The one I was looking out for was John Lestrange, who obviously we had at Bristol City, made a big transfer here, but he appears to have gone already. What I can see, Reece Norrington-Davis at left back, Harvey Elliott, Ethan Galbraith, some former youngsters from the top clubs, Nathan Patterson, obviously went to Everton in real life, and George Armstrong at centre-half, who is another former Bristol City youth player, a club that we managed earlier in the series. The Ketelari is a great goal scorer in our Twitch streams with Derby, but for one of our opponents, Everton. So let's see how we get on today. It's a solid bench, it's a decent team, but we battered Fulham with Bristol City. I'd quite like to do the same again here. So let's get through it. Into the first half we go and hope for a positive result, because away from home, we've always been a very strong team here. Well, I'm not too concerned because we normally finish strong, but this has been a woeful 25 minutes as we finally get a highlight and a ball into the box. Tahar finds Ndombele who recycles it. Now, we normally finish strong. We had that last season throughout. The last 20 minutes we'd get goals galore. Here though, we've not really looked like opening the door, and we've not seen a great deal going forward against a poorer side. As Ndombele goes back to Mepham, I do worry without Boyer if we're strong enough in the middle, though Campbell finds Lanez, got 3 in support, can go right if he wants to. Castrovilli to the edge of the box. Right side in. Campbell's beaten to it by Norrington Davis and it's cleared as far as Lenormand. He picks it up. Carries it forward to Castrovilli. To Ndombele. Through ball to Lanez. Excellent football. Little dink over the keeper into the corner. But VAR is going to take a look because it was a very, very close. Now what's going to be given? Darren England is the ref. The goal is awarded. And we have the lead. Is it lift off again? Is it going to be like last season? Or is it just that we're playing a poorer side and are lucky to get a result? 1-0 Crystal Palace, 10 to half time. As long as we win, couldn't really care less. What I didn't do pre-match is have a look at the preview. So we'll do that at half time. See where the media expect us to finish. As Campbell's in again. Save to Irfan. I mean, for me personally, the aim is to get into Europe of some form. So anywhere in the top 7. And try and get into Europe after Christmas by finishing at least 3rd in a Champions League group. We go and have a quick look at the season preview, just to see what's expected of us. We are expected 12th, so they still don't rate us that highly. And I guess our squad hasn't really got stronger, certainly not our first 11. So maybe if some of the other boys have improved, the Liverpools and Spurs, who really disappointed last year, then they'll have a chance. As Abdul Qadir with a cross in. Great free kick. We've still got the threat from set pieces, but Mepham heads that one just off target. 10 minutes gone in the second half. Fulham have their first shot on target, but not good enough for us to see. And we're back on the attack with Bogle. We've definitely grown into this game. Tahar, back to Mepham, to Ndombele. Tries to switch it, but he's not got enough on it. And Teo will have to work back on the left. Finds Ndombele. Through to Campbell, up to Lanez. He started last season strongly, and he's doing exactly the same here. We've got another glitch at the bottom there. It said his first goal of the season, but it's his second of the game, so it's definitely not that. But Diego Lanez makes it 2-0 to Palace, and we are thoroughly delighted with this. A comfortable win. We need to get points on the board before the Champions League starts, and we look like we're going to do it in style. Let's go and make some subs after we've seen a corner. Abdul Qadir in to the back post. Mepham hits the post. It drops down for Campbell, but I think he was off. And this one, I'm sure, will be disallowed by VAR. Let's see what happens with it. Darren England, hand on the ear again. What's going to be given? Oh, it's awarded again. 3-0, and that strengthens our position. Let's go and make some subs. So the first change is going to be one in central midfield, and Ndombele had a heavy match load. He was injured early in pre-season. We had to rush him back. So I'm going to bring Sacerez on there just to give us a bit of strength and fitness in the middle. I'm also looking at the fullback areas because we've got 2 that are struggling with complacency. And I don't really want to take a risk, but I'm going to leave it for now. The reason being, I'd like to give Diallo a debut if possible. So if we can get to the 75-80 minute mark unopposed, which it looks like we have, then I'm going to go and rest one. Mepham struggled with fitness later on last year. So Abdou Diallo will make his debut for Crystal Palace. And then in the latter stages, we'll take off Abdul Qadir, who had a lot of injuries last year. And Alan Rios can come on the right wing. With 3 changes made, it remains 3-0. It's been a comfortable game. We've not been vintage. We've not been entirely dominant. But we've been good enough. It's Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 3. We've got a late free kick with Rios. Headed away as Campbell went to attack it. As far as Tahar. He picks it up on the right wing. Chance to cross. It's back to Bogle. That's a horrible tackle. Tahar gets it again. Hits the post. Reece Norrington Davis. Dirty foul. And nothing given. Here comes Diallo though. Thankfully, we didn't come out of that with an injury because it could have been a lot worse. Diallo goes on a mazy run and then passes it straight out for a goal kick. We'll put that down to a lack of communication with his new teammates. At the end, though, it's a 3-0 win for Palace. It's a fabulous performance. And the final whistle still hasn't gone, but we're celebrating already. We don't think we're going to be able to replicate that success of 4th, but if we can get up in Europe consistently with Crystal Palace Football Club, we're going to show just how good we are. We'll be back next time. Obviously, we'll have a Champions League draw. But for now, let's have a look at when we're next going to be back. Well, another youngster's gone out on loan, but let's have a look at the schedule. I'm thinking to do something a bit unprecedented here. I might come back for the next game. I might show Arsenal at home, where we have struggled a bit more last season, was at home. We'll show Arsenal at home, we'll get the Champions League group stage draw in, and we'll show transfer deadline day. And then we'll leave it a little while for our Champions League debut. So let's come back for that. We will be here next weekend. Arsenal, Champions League group stage draw, transfer deadline day. It does not get bigger than this. If you want to find out how we get on, who we draw in the Champions League, and whether we can shock the odds, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM22 content. Turn that notification bell on to make sure you don't miss a bit. But let me know what you think of Dougie Freedman's work so far. Do the signings make sense? That Ukrainian youngster, if he can stay fit, looks absolutely sublime. And what did you think of our first performance? Could we possibly replicate fourth? Or are the big boys finally going to improve and deliver? Who do you think will draw in the Champions League? And will we have a chance of getting through? We'll find out that in a couple of days' time. In the meantime, we've got transfer deadline day with Hemel. We had our transfer special yesterday. You can see that in the eye above. There was also a new episode of Review the 92 earlier as me and Tom talked through Bloomfield Road. So please do give that a go if you haven't already. A massive thank you for your support as always. It really is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you in a couple of days' time for a big transfer deadline day and a big moment. Our first Champions League draw. Who are we going to get? I'll see you there to find out.